The Supreme Court justices heard arguments yesterday about if internet companies can actually be held accountable for the content that their algorithms promote to users.
Yeah, and this comes after a 23-year-old woman was killed in a 2015 ISIS terrorist attack in France, and her family then sued YouTube, owned by Google, for suggesting ISIS material to specific individuals. Google used Section 230 as their defense. A law was then passed in 1996 that protects online platforms from being sued for third-party content, saying this also applies to site recommendations.
So yeah, we're potentially talking about changing the internet moving forward, depending on what the justices do in this case. So a lot of questions to be asked and answered in this one. Erie News Now's Kara Jeffers is standing by with Mercyhurst University professor of political science, Dr. Joe Morris, to talk about this Supreme Court case and how the eventual ruling could impact all of us. Good morning, Kara.
Good morning, Mark and Brissa, and good morning, Dr. Joe. So glad you're in. Section 230, it's generally applied to, hey, we're Twitter and you can tweet anything that you want to and other people can't sue us. But now we're talking about algorithms. I'm Twitter and I suggest these different posts to you. Can we still get in trouble for that? And I think that's what's at the base of this deliberation.
It certainly is. And, you know, I like to think of these social media platforms in a way that I'm familiar with, and that way is with a bulletin board, a good old-fashioned bulletin board. And the law that was passed in the 1990s says that if you post a bulletin board or hang a bulletin board, anybody can come along and post whatever they want. And even if it's something that people don't agree with or something that may be harmful, the person who hung the bulletin board is not responsible for that. It's a bulletin board. Anyone's allowed to hang stuff there. But what happens when they add some technology to that bulletin board that allows the bulletin board to recognize who you are, what you look for, what articles you like, what you've read on the bulletin board in the past, and then it highlights certain bulletins on that board? Is now that bulletin board hanger liable? And that's the question we're dealing with in the Supreme Court.
Definitely. And I know yesterday people who were in that hearing said a lot of the Supreme Court justices were confused. They were definitely concerned if we open this up and say, yes, the bulletin board is responsible, then is that going to put free speech at risk? But on the other hand, you have parents who have kids on TikTok who are coming across these challenges that have literally led to kids dying because they're getting suggested to, like, the blackout challenge. You hold your breath until you pass out. So what's at stake here as these justices are considering this law?
Yeah, it's a great deal that's at stake, and it's not just with our children. We have to remember we're just a couple years out from a riot, an attack on the U.S. Capitol, and many of those people that were participating in that attack on the U.S. Capitol were they believed that, for example, Barack Obama was actually a lizard from another planet, that Hillary Clinton was running a criminal organization out of a pizza parlor in Brooklyn. That there's dangerous material on there, and when it gets to the wrong person, it can have serious social repercussions.
Yeah. Well, this is definitely a topic that we're going to be keeping track of as the Supreme Court continues to deliberate. I think it's expected in June. Thank you for coming in, Dr. Morris. Mark, Brissa, back to you.